It's Monday on Daily Delivery. Michael Rand here. Patrick Reusse with me as usual. Patrick, it was a busy weekend, like Sunday. Kind of every team played, right? The Wild, Wolves, Gopher basketball, Gopher hockey. Biggest story, though, Patrick, is you joined Blue Sky. Welcome to the good side. How you doing?
It's a different vibe, and it's not much action over there, but it's interesting, and let me address the whole scandal
Okay.
thing with Twitter. I'll admit this: if you go on Twitter and you're a smart aleck for 15 years, and I've always said that the Twitter is my personality when I still was drinking, which I quit in 1981. But that's I
Right.
revert back to that to kind of a belligerent attitude and have what I consider to have fun with it. Well, Blue Sky, you can just be I can be my sober self on Blue Sky and get along with people, and it's my only problem with Blue Sky is the name Blue Sky. That's a little foo-foo for me, but
Well,
that's okay.
I've admitted to people that before I knew what it was really, and I would look at it, it's just one word. I thought it was pronounced blueski, like a brewski, or like it was, I admit it. So I'm with you on the name. I don't think it's a great name.
Yes, but I realized that even though it's not going anywhere, that I did need some outlet for some stuff that I wanted to get out there, like just minor stuff. So once the Twitter axe fell, and I needed someplace to go, and it seems kind of fun. So
Yeah.
anyway,
Well,
we'll see. But anyway, the whole controversy. I'm sitting at the Gopher baseball game, and I was there was everything going on in town, and poor Gopher baseball starting the Big Ten. Ty McDevitt's a really nice guy and determined, and I like talking to him because he's candid. And so I'd already written most of the. I knew what I was going to write, but I was over there, and I'm in the dome. There's probably. They're taking BP, and there's 30 people milling around. When the game started, there weren't over 200 because the dome does everything they can to make sure that people don't get in there to watch baseball. Anyway, 4:45, 4:40, they're just blasting this song. This old rap song that I guess I'd heard, but I couldn't remember. But I mean, the end of it is like monkey, 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 and
Brass Monkey, yes, by
my
the Beastie
mind
Boys.
is going crazy, and I tweet. It's too bad before they played this monkey rap song that they didn't come over and ask me. I would have given them $20 not to do it, and that was it. And this was deemed to be by people who didn't know what I was talking about, or people who wanted to be offended. It was deemed to be racist, which I hate to giggle about it, but at 7:30 or so, I looked at my Twitter account to add something about the baseball game and saw all this Reusse a racist stuff, and I said, well, "What? I didn't know what was going on." And
Right.
then I found out, and as it progressed, it got to be Saturday, and the Star Tribune said they had to do a clarification and all this nonsense. So I ended up. It was like, I don't know what it was. It was like 3:00 in the morning or something. I said, I'm sick of it. I'm sick of Twitter. I'm sick of people who read the one Twitter summary line and then start commenting on a column, even though the second graph says what they commented on. And I'm sick of that. And then, I'm a little political there too. And it's not, I'm not a big Elon Musk fan or Donald Trump fan. So I just, I closed my Twitter account, and then then it wasn't on Twitter anymore. So I contacted my friend Matt, who's talking with Matthew Collar, and I said, "Hey, I'm going to send you a statement." Which that was inflammatory, but that's the end. Me and Twitter are now cities. Now we're in Blue Sky. Everybody we can all get along now. So and you won't have to be mad at me on Twitter anymore because I won't be there. So you
can come be happy with you on Blue Sky, where everything is just
it's
blue and nice.
PJ the Reusse is the logo. PJ the Reusse.
It was obtuse enough that I had to text you yesterday and say, "Is that really you, or did someone create a Patrick Reusse parody account?"
No, actually, there's still a Patrick Reusse account on Twitter. I'd forgotten about this. It was Strib. It was Strib, as a Strib one in which they just had columns or something on it.
That's right.
I haven't posted on it. And I don't know if the Strib still posts on it, but I haven't.
No, I don't think they do.
I haven't posted on it in 10 or 12 years. But one thing about Twitter is if you don't kill it, it just lives forever. Right.
It's
anyway, that was
it's like a horror movie. Yeah.
The weekend's over, and you know what? I'm a little calmer. I feel a little better about life. And I pointed this out to you. My last big scandal, the biggest of my career.
Yes, this
bigger than this was.
Oh yeah,
and well deserved, by the way. 1991 March. Not that I remember it, but it was March 2nd, 1991. I was in desperate need of a column because I'd went up to Duluth for a boxing match that they had a heavyweight contender boxing match up there, and they had this crazy guy Johnny Norwick, and they canceled it on Friday, so I needed a column. So I did a lot of witty. What I considered witty asides. The first one was that Clem Haskins, because of the way he talked about road games, was going to replace Tariq Aziz as Saddam Hussein's PR man. That's the mood in which it was. Nobody minded.
Spirit that you started in, yes.
But the second thing in the spirit was demeaning the women's basketball that I'd seen that winter and referring to it as tiptoed ball throwing, which lived in infamy. My poor stepson was going to Benilde. The girls on the basketball team were putting up posters on the walls with with targets and stuff. So that was a bad one, and that's also the one where I wrote an apology column, which was considered too flippant. So then I had to write a second. The only column I ever had killed in my life, and was that one. And so, but a week before, this. You flap or
this dust up. Yeah,
I drove to Stevens Point, Wisconsin. Saturday morning, 3.5 hours. Spent the afternoon with Janelle McCarville. Watched her coach her game that night, and drove back.
Yes.
So in 34 years, I've shown growth on my women's basketball appreciation.
Yes, you and the game have shown tremendous growth in 34 years.
Yes, it has really shown tremendous growth. It's amazing to me. I mean, we'll get to the real points here, but my God. People like to badmouth Caitlin Clark for various reasons. And Angel Reese is now doing ads. I think that's great. But they're fighting to have WNBA franchises. They've been at 12 for what?
A long time. Yeah. As long as I can remember. Yeah.
Yeah. They've been at 12. They had a hard time. Everybody bailed out. Everybody's, Cleveland's paying what, $250 million or something? I thought.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah. More than that. So to get the 18th franchise, it's amazing. So anyway, that's it. And we're happy at Blue Sky and happy not to have me on Twitter, and everything's good. So, okay.
The Wolves.
What a weekend. What a Sunday, by the way. You didn't know where to turn on your television set, but go ahead. Lead me where we're going.
I think we'll start with the Wolves. We'll get to free agency, but let's kind of hit all the things that happened yesterday. We'll get to NFL free agency in a minute, but I watched a lot of that Wolves game last night. I think head coach Chris Finch, after the game said that's about as good as they've played offensively. They put up like 140, something like that, over San Antonio, which admittedly didn't put up much resistance, doesn't have Wembanyama in the middle anymore, so they don't have much rim protection. But it's a team now where everybody is healthy, everybody off the injury report. Gobert played, DiVincenzo and Randall have been really good since they came back. They haven't had any rust. Suddenly it's a team. Finchie played 10 last night, and it sounds like he's committed to playing 10 guys.
Yeah, because Clark's got to be the 10th now.
Shannon too.
Shannon only got 7 minutes or something like that.
Yeah, they didn't get much, but they played. It wasn't just garbage time.
No, and Shannon is a really good 10th, and Clark is, he can guard you. But what's interesting is Dillingham's out because they really don't, with DiVincenzo back and, Conley
playing a little bit better.
And then Alexander Walker can play guard too, so you don't. And he's playing really good again. He was really good early and then kind of mediocre for a while, and he's playing really good. But this is the first time all year I liked him. The way
I agree.
Randall looks better. I think he lost 8 pounds when he was out hurt. He just looks flatter, and his stomach looks flatter. He looks quicker. I mean, he was never out of shape, but he just looks quicker. Moving the ball better. He had 10 assists yesterday. And, with him being lively instead of just the ball being thrown to him and not moving for 8 seconds after that, it really looks good all of a sudden. And, it's a long marathon of a season. And if you can start playing good now, that's okay. They've caught Golden State, and they're tied for 6th now.
Tied for 6th, yep.
You got to get the top 6, and then you'll be okay, right? So,
that's the goal. Even 7th, and then you start taking your chances, because then you got to win your play-in round to avoid missing completely or having to play Oklahoma City if you miss
and if you finish 7th, you end up playing the Lakers and the refs. You got to beat the Lakers and the refs.
Lakers, though, LeBron hurt his groin over the weekend. He's going to probably miss some weeks, so they might not be quite as invincible as they have been. But the thing you want to avoid is the 1-8, of course. But I think ideally, if you can get up to 5 or 6, which they seemed more feasible until Golden State caught fire, until the Lakers became what they are. I don't know if Houston's going to fall back enough. So they're probably going to have to beat out Golden State, hope that they falter a little bit. But they've been playing pretty well with Jimmy in there.
Yes, Jimmy.
Steph too.
The night that Steph got 56, Jimmy didn't make a shot, right?
Jimmy that's right,
or something like that.
Yeah,
Jimmy's it is funny though that they were playing awful, and Jimmy comes in, and he's going to be a good player for a short term. But what are they going to do then? They're going to pay him. Pay him more money than he's making. Anyway, that's a problem for another day. But the Western Conference is a beast, though. It's unbelievable.
It's been that way for so long too. It's like the West has just consistently been better than the East, at least 1 through 8 or 1 through 10 for 7-10 years, something like that. It's just more good teams, and there's going to be 2 or 3 East teams that get in the playoffs that either have 500 or losing records, and then there's going to be a team in the West with 45 wins that doesn't make it.
Yeah, I was one of the beat writers from Philadelphia was here for the 76ers game, and I heard her talking to Johnny K, and she said that they still think they can be the 10. They can get in and be 10th. I said, and I'm thinking, why do they want to? For goodness' sake.
Yeah. Well, don't they want their draft pick?
They're trying
to get their draft pick.
Lose their draft pick, for goodness' sakes. Their top 6 protected, right?
That's right. Yeah.
So that's weird. But it is now that time of year too that they are really packing it in, the bad teams.
Right.
And if you can play a few of them, they're just not even going to try to beat you. So,
right. Which is kind of who the Wolves are playing a lot in this stretch. Not like San Antonio's completely packed it in, but I'm sure they're without Wembanyama, they're playing more for picks and next year and playing the young guys. And they had that game against Charlotte the other day. Now Miami was a tougher game on Friday, but they managed to pull that one out and win that one. Miami's a decent team, even though they got rid of Butler. They've got a lot of those games.
they're still trying to get a decent.
They're still trying to win.
Yeah, that's a good win. Any road win and a competent team's a good win, and against a well-coached team like that. So yeah, they're it's the most hopeful. I mean the frustration level has been there all year because, and we talked about it all the time, the 5, 6, 7 unexplainable terrible losses that they didn't have those last year, but they've had them this year. But they're playing good now, and that's what counts. I still have this question. What the, and I guess it's just the world that we live in, but the fact that the same fans who love to rip Rocco, Fitzy, they're ripping. What is mad at Fitzy for? I guess because he didn't use his bench enough, or they want Dillingham, or whatever it is. But he's far removed from the problems that you talk about with that team, for sure. So,
Wolves fans don't like it when I point this out, but Basketball Reference has this metric called Simple Rating System. And for a while now, and certainly right now, they have considered the Wolves with Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo to be better than the Knicks, even though the Knicks have a better record. They don't like they don't like when I point that out to them.
Well, and the Knicks, Cat, I guess a friend of his died and he missed a couple of games, but they don't play any defense all of a sudden, which is really weird with a Tibbs team. But now Brunson's not playing for 2-3 weeks. They're gonna slip. They're gonna slip. They're overrated. So they probably won the trade, but not as big a lopsided as we thought. In the long term, I don't know. Cat has had a fantastic year for rebounding and stuff like that. So
it'd be interesting to see what they do with Randall long term. Finch always says nice things about him, but I just don't know how he fits salary wise long term. But
I think this summer. I think if he opts out, they probably won't bring him back, right?
Yeah.
And one reason they got rid of Cat is they didn't want to get to the supermax. Although, I don't know, where's the NBA cap going? The NFL cap just went up $22 million.
I know.
And so I don't know where the cap's going. Anyway, hey, it's feeling good, and they have announced sellouts for every game this year. I mean, I don't know if people are that amazing. I wrote that thing the other day, and I looked back at the the 2004, the next October. They didn't sell out the opener, and the next two games home games were in 15,000. So
we were all mad. We were all mad at Sprewell and Cassell.
Cassell, that was probably it. But the good vibe didn't last too long there. So
no, which is surprising because this year the vibes have been bad for a lot of the year, but they've still been showing up. They must have sold a lot of those in advance and made it a place that people want to be, but they're starting to get rewarded now. What are they, 37 and 29 now? I think that's their record. 37 and 29.
I think they were only 3 over when this started. This is 5 in a row, right?
Yeah, 5 in a row now. Yeah, 37 and 29. So
anyway,
they've got winnable games coming up.
Open a smart checking account at Royal Credit Union to get no monthly fees, no minimum balance, and a $250 bonus. See details at rcu.org/checking bonus. No minimum balance required to obtain bonus. Offer ends 5/31/25. Insured by NCUA.
Yeah. Meanwhile, we have the agony of a homestand across the way for the my Suhan had a good lead today about how they're home. I hate to make you feel bad right away, but they're home for 11 games or something.
Yeah,
they have 11 games at home this month.
Wow. Yeah.
But they can't score any goals. They're Kaprizov's still out, and now people were mad at Guerin that he didn't do anything at the trade as significant as the trade deadline. He's got no money, for goodness sake.
Well, they probably wanted him to. They wanted him to do the nefarious cap stuff where they keep one of those guys stashed on long-term injured reserve and bring somebody in and then have that guy come back for the playoffs when it doesn't matter anymore. But
but you if you can get Kaprizov back, you gotta have it back for sake. Otherwise, you're fourth now in the West. Don't look now, but you can miss the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, they've got a cushion still, but
they're 7 points ahead of St. Louis, who isn't very good.
No. but
what I'm saying is it's not like 2-3 weeks ago you were hoping to finish second,
Right.
in the West and be home for a series, and now you're hanging out by your fingernails. So I don't know. They're not. Hey, you know what? When you're not scoring goals, you're not going to win very often.
well, and
the way it
they're
works.
playing such a boring style right now, kind
Oh,
of by
yes.
necessity. I think I had Sarah McClellan on last week to talk about him. It was right after they had won like a 1-0 game, and
Yes.
I think the term that they're using is low event games. It was a low event game, and I was like, that describes it. It was definitely a low event game.
I'm sure the family from Woodbury that's coming in and spending $500 before they leave is very happy to say, hey, to say the 12 and the 10-year-old kids, it's going to be boring, but let's have a good time here today. So.
Try to win. It's like the old Jacques Lemaire days. I remember I think it was Tom Jones. Remember Tom Jones, our old beat writer, first beat writer.
Yeah.
I think he wrote one time that Jacques Lemaire tried to win every game 1-0.
He was great.
He got half a goal.
Then he left us before the one playoff run. And
that's right. Poor Chip.
Chip got thrown in there as the beat writer for go get him for the. That was fun though. I wrote more hockey columns. I wrote more.
I was along for a lot of that ride.
45 days than I did in my life.
Yes.
So it was fun though, because Jock could say something goofy every day. It was great.
Oh, so the money was flowing back then. They were sending like 7 of us back and forth to Vancouver on 12 hours notice because they kept winning those games, and I was like, I was sending me to Vancouver to write a Vancouver sidebar from a game that started at 9:30 p.m. our time. I was like, I'll go, that's fine, I don't mind.
I was on our plane with our whole crew at 5 o'clock in the morning coming back, and we needed tickets to come back, and I called my travel agent, woke her up, and he said, I need this ticket, and then I passed my cell phone around, and we booked about 5 of them, coming back.
Yeah.
$1,300.
Yep. 13 apiece, yes, 1,300 apiece. That's amazing.
Come back, because that's when Saturdays were a big thing. You had to stay over Saturday, else they were going to rob you. So, anyway, that was fun. Yeah, unlimited funds then too. So, anyway.
Yes, we were making a lot of money on that playoff run. A lot of people wanted to hop on and buy the advertising. 2003, the times were good, Patrick. The time.
Yes,
Twitter wasn't even a thing yet. Social media wasn't even a thing yet.
Twitter was not there. I remember I was doing the radio show in 2009, was it? 2009, 10?
Sounds about right.
And I was having Julio Ojeda Zapata from the Pioneer Press on to explain what this goofy thing was, and he was like Mr. Twitter when it started.
I remember that. Yeah, I remember that.
He was fully explaining, and he'd be my guest about every 2 months, telling me about the growth of Twitter. And I said, "What?" And you were trying to tweet on your flip phone and stuff. It was really,
flip phones.
It was something. Anyway,
I still kind of miss my old BlackBerry, if I'm being honest. Not as much.
Remember when that was like you were elite if you had a BlackBerry,
yes,
and then all of a sudden, boom!
And then the iPhone
the movie
came.
Yet? Have you watched the movie?
No,
about the death of BlackBerry.
No, I want to though. Is it pretty good?
I haven't watched it. I've seen it there, but it was like these guys were rolling in it, and then all of a sudden
for like a year, it was like the greatest thing ever. And then the iPhone came out, and it's like, whoops! I guess they didn't evolve with the times.
I think they got in a big feud too, the partners on the thing or something. I don't know. Anyway, then we got where are we going now? We're going
Gopher men's basketball. Loses to Rutgers in overtime, not a huge impact game. And now, just like the women, it's the 12-13 game against Northwestern in the Big Ten tournament today, or not today, Wednesday.
So I got a question for you. How can Rutgers have a guy who's Ron Harper's kid who's going to be drafted in the first 5, and the other guy who's going to be drafted in the next 5? How can they be this rotten?
I have no idea. I think those guys were hurt a little bit.
Two of the best players in the country, but and they the Gophers had a chance to beat them, but the Gophers.
Yeah.
So, boy, they got. You know what their big problem is? This Agadala or whatever his name is. How do I pronounce that?
Okadale, I think.
Agadale. He's one of their best players, but I could waddle out there in my 79-year-old fat ass and beat him in a free throw contest. He is unbelievable. He
51% going into the game, I think. Yeah.
And he went to the line twice in the last minute. And each time you're saying it's a miracle if he makes one. He just throws it the general direction of the basket from the free throw line. And so it's really... It's frightful when you got to keep him out there. He's the reason they lost the game. They missed their free throws again. And same thing with the Wisconsin game. They were terrible at the line. I mean, Wisconsin pulled away from them at the end. But what was the game early this year that they absolutely...
Oh, there was one earlier this year. Was it
one at home?
Oh, they lost to Ohio. Was it the Ohio State game that they gave away?
Yeah.
Where they missed a bunch of free throws at the end.
Could make free throws. Well, Parker Fox, who doesn't play anymore, Parker's all banged up, and he's probably got arthritis at his age. But anyway, all the smart ass lines I can't use on Twitter now, I still got to use here. So anyway, they're so limited. It's
I know.
Thank God he made the top 15. No, it would have been.
Yeah, at least they're in the Big Ten tournament.
It's a godly tie, right? There's about 5 of them tied, but
I think they
tiebreakers or something.
They knew going in. I think they knew going in that they were safe no matter what. So it wasn't like it was a huge swing one way or the other. They were either going to be the 11 or the 12, whoever won, whoever lost that game. But yeah, it was, I still know Chip wrote a good column last week, got some perspective in there. He talked to some athletic department folks about how they're going to raise up they're going to use a lot. They're planning, at least his reporting, so they're planning at least to use a lot of the revenue sharing money on men's basketball.
In that case, do they want to give away $2.9 million to get rid of Ben or not?
That's the question. Like, do you want a clean slate, or do you think Ben deserves a chance to play with some money? I don't know. It's an interesting question. And are you willing to stomach the buyout? Is part of the other question.
That's what I'm saying. Is the buyout is 2.9 or something? 2.7, 2.9.
Yeah, it's close to 3.
But the other thing is, I think he's gone. Frankly, I don't think if Coyle could had the guts to fire Lindsey Whalen in a similar situation, I got a hunch that he thinks Johnson isn't the answer. But I don't know. I don't have any inside info on that. But
no,
it's one thing you gotta call in either whoever you hire or Johnson and say you can't present this as your non-conference schedule. And you can't play December with 2,800 people in Williams Arena and think you're bringing in any kind of excitement. I know you got to play some months,
right?
But you got to play St. Thomas. You got to play South Dakota State. You got to play You got to play some teams that are going to get some people in there. If I'm a 50-year-old guy with a couple of kids who's considering getting Gopher fever, and you go to one of their games and you got 2,900 people there, you're never coming back. You can't play this horrible non-conference schedule that they play and expect to create any excitement. They're better off losing by 15 to St. Thomas at home with 11,000 people in the stands than beating North Alabama with 2,800 there, for goodness sakes.
Well, and you make a good point too. Like, there's another option now. You can go get St. Thomas fever, and it's still a different level, but it's Division I.
Next year, new arena, 5,800 seats.
Right.
Looks gorgeous.
Right. And even if their competition is, not the same level, it's not the same level, but when two teams are comparable like that, it feels like it. And then you go there and the arena's hopping and they're competitive. That might be it's a good environment. It's a better atmosphere than a half-empty barn for sure, even if there's going to be more people at the barn. So they've got that competition now where they're, St. Thomas starting next year can be an NCAA tournament team. There's going to be increased pressure on that. So, yeah.
We should mention they got to the Summit League final, got beat last night pretty handily by Omaha. Omaha must be good. But they just beat North Dakota bloody on Saturday. They beat them they got in the 90s that game. I mean, Towers team plays a great ball movement basketball. They're fun to watch, and it was a good way to go out. That Omaha team's got the kid from Madelia. I wrote about him about 3 years.
Oh, yeah.
Yassine Glover's like their 7th man or something. He plays a lot. I went down there. He's a African-American kid in Madelia, which is unusual, and a great mom and a funny sister, and they loved him in that town. He grew up there as a little kid, and he's I think the Gophers were actually peeking at him as a possible walk-on, but he ended up going to Omaha, and he hasn't transferred. He's been there 3 years. He's stayed. He hasn't.
Wow,
that's quite an accomplishment.
This day and age, 3 years at the same school.
Yeah, that's. But anyway, the Gophers, Northwestern isn't a good opponent for them because Chris Collins always knows what to do against the Gophers. Northwestern isn't very good, but they're well coached, as they say.
Yes, they are. Gopher hockey.
What's that?
I don't know.
Losing at Notre Dame at home.
I don't
know. Not that it makes any difference. They're not going to be a 1 seed. Well, they're not going to be a 1 seed, but they're going to be a 2 seed, and they're going to go the same place. They're going to go to Fargo. So what difference is it?
Right. Doesn't not much of a difference.
It's just that I don't know who won I don't know. Did Mankato win their playoff yet? I forgot to look. The CCHA, did they make it to the finals? Because they could, I guess they could flip it and be a higher seed. No, they can't. The Gophers will be probably the 2 seed there, but I don't know against who. But the Big Ten was very weird. On Friday night, all 3 visiting teams won. So the lower seeded teams won, and they ended up. Penn State ended up advancing, and Wisconsin got beat by Ohio State. So, but Notre Dame was awful. Most of the year. Last week they upset Michigan State to give the Gophers a chance to win the title, right? And then I
think that's right, yeah.
Then yesterday they beat them 2 out of 3. Yeah. I got to think this has been a frustrating team for Motzko because they really are talented, but they've been very erratic. So anyway,
maybe like the Wolves, they'll peak at the right time. Patrick, we'll see. Yes. Hey, before we go, NFL free agency technically starts today, although I feel like there might have been, I was joking the other day on social media, I was like, they've defined this now as the legal bargaining position.
No, this is
2 days
legal.
of legal.
This is legal today, right?
This is legal, but there's still illegal. There's still an illegal tampering period before it, even if they don't want to call it that.
Yes,
we had illegal tampering. Today is legal tampering, and then Wednesday they can start actually signing.
But what you need is not to have an idiot like Cousins who comes out and says that we made the deal.
Right,
made the deal 3 days ago.
Right,
and ends up getting them cost them a draft choice, right?
Yes, it did.
We wanted them to give us that draft choice.
Right, we were trying to do that.
I think the league says you didn't want him.
Right.
You were giving him away. Okay, what are the odds he's back here for $1 million as the quarterback?
Well, the Falcons keep saying they're going to keep him. I don't know.
They're hoping.
But here's the thing: he's got so much guaranteed money, it doesn't necessarily make sense for them to cut him. Like all it's going to cost him is an extra $10 million to keep him.
Yeah, that's true. I guess hopefully,
if it was just play money, they would probably cut him. But he's owed what $27 million guaranteed, and then if he's still on the roster this year, it's another 10. But I don't know. It's going to cost you that much to sign a backup quarterback anyway. So I don't know. I don't know if he'll end up anywhere else.
It would. It would. I'd have to go out to the backyard vomitorium if they were to bring him back to Minnesota.
I don't. Yeah, that doesn't seem likely.
I don't think so. You don't want to put that kind of pressure on McCarthy, for goodness.
No, I don't think so.
Daniel Jones is perfect. Daniel Jones
he is
perfect because
he would be.
He's low ego, and if he plays like he did against the Vikings a couple of years ago, then you're happy. But he'd be. He's the perfect fill-in because you don't have to pay him anything, right? The Giants are still paying him most of it, right?
And I wonder. It's going to be interesting. The quarterback market is so bad. You wonder if he's going to go somewhere different with a chance to play a little bit more, because it does seem like it's all pointing towards they want McCarthy to be the guy in 2025. This whole thing about Darnold, Darnold's not coming back here. Like we had to play the game for a few weeks, but unless his market just craters, and every list you look at, like objectively, like he's by far the best quarterback available.
Yeah.
So someone's going to give him a multi-year contract. He's got to take it while he's coming off his career year, and then they move on to McCarthy.
We were talking before the show here that Metcalf going to Pittsburgh is one of the goofiest things I've ever seen, because they don't have a quarterback, and then you said now Pittsburgh's being mentioned as a possible place for Darnold. So
we'll see. I think Seattle's the strong contender since they traded Geno, and everybody was kind of connecting the dots when that happened a couple of days ago. But I don't know what they're up to in Seattle, if they're in a somewhat of a rebuild or if they want Darnold or what's going to happen. But I don't know. It's goofy.
Well, he seemed like a nice enough fella. I hope he gets a good job and goes plays. I can forgive him for the Detroit game because he was inaccurate that day and a little nervous. But his performance against the Rams would give me serious trepidation. The fact that he decided the best strategy when he was 6 yards deep in the pocket was to run 8 yards further backwards and get sacked was not. That was a loss of composure that I'd have a hard time forgetting about. So
I think I looked it up afterwards. Like, it wasn't just that he got sacked 9 times; it was for like 80 yards or something.
Oh yeah, the distance was the most. Retreating is not the secret. No. Anyway, it was.
I think they're.
But
I think they're ready for something else.
They should be good with the money they got to spend. My God, they got to get some free. They got to be 3 or 4 Van Ginkels out there for them.
Use some of it already on Aaron Jones. I was a little surprised at the terms. You got what, 13 million guaranteed over 2 years.
The Pittsburgh the Green Bay fans said he'd get hurt, and he did to some degree last year when he missed 3 games. But
he stayed on the field mostly, though.
Mostly, but I like him. But I was surprised they brought him back. I thought they might go a little bigger in the market because their running backs are back, right? We're now interested in them again, right? So
They need to draft one. It's been a long time since they drafted an effective running back. So they need Aaron Jones needs to play about 20% less next season, and they need to not have to trade for Cam Akers a 3rd straight year.
Cam should get an apartment here.
Just in case.
Sublet it, and say, okay, I got to be back next week. You got to move out.
He should get a lease starting in October. Around the trade deadline.
Right. Yeah. All righty. Well,
all right, sir.
See you on Blue Sky, folks.
Enjoy it, Patrick.
PJ the Reusse, R-E-U-S-S. I'm trying to remain anonymous, but if you want to find me, I'm over there being a nice guy. And in fact, as an incentive, my last tweet was, if a PJ Fleck fan wants to come here, I promise to follow every cheap shot with something positive.
Wow. Wow.
I'm not giving up the PJ cheap shots, but I'll throw a little bromide in about, hey, remember that big victory versus Bowling Green in the Inside Bowl or whatever it was? So,
all right, Patrick. Thank you, sir.
Bye.
Bye-bye.